welcome. We've reached the finale of the Christmas Movie Madness bracket. I'm Dave Anthony.
And I'm Kenton Dick, and we're pretty excited about this one. It took a while to get here. 32 movies is what we started with. We're now down to 2. This is the 4th and final round. Dave.
Kenton, I would have guessed that Die Hard would have made it pretty far. I thought it would have probably gone to the finals, which it did. You could have given me 31 guesses, and I probably wouldn't have picked Christmas Chronicles to make the final. But here we are.
And an absolute surprise for a few reasons, one of which is that it's a Netflix movie.
It is, and it's only come out since 2018, so it's relatively new in the game.
We've talked a lot about old versus new on this whole thing, and this is kind of the ultimate, because one of these movies, 1988, hit the box office, was a big hit, and the other has never been in theaters because it's a Netflix movie. So really, the old versus the new on this one.
It's kind of like the day and age we live in, right? You think of the late 80s going to movies. Nowadays, we can't leave the house, so we have to watch movies at home.
Let's go over some of the stats from these two movies.
This is how both competitors made it to the final round. Starting with Die Hard, in the first round, it took down Miracle on 34th Street. Santa never really stood a chance against John McClane. In the second round, the classic White Christmas was knocked out pretty handily, and then The Grinch versus Die Hard. This could have been the final. It ends up being a round 3 matchup, Kenton, and Die Hard took it. It was a close one, but Die Hard ended up coming away.
It was pretty close, and The Christmas Chronicles, also some pretty stiff competition, made it through. Hit me.
They had Home Alone 1 and 2 in the first round.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise. I thought Macaulay Culkin was going to win. Maybe the whole thing.
Yeah, how many sequels have they made to Home Alone? You'd think that, like, with that popularity, it's going to make it through.
Yeah, but in their defense, it did get worse as it got along.
True.
And yeah, the second one was not even that great. Nightmare Before Christmas, though, in round number 2, a fantastic film, but is it really Christmas? Probably not, so I can see that one. The third round, though, Jingle All the Way. That is a mammoth in the Christmas movie universe, Kenton, and it took it down.
You got it. These two really did work their way through the field.
So that's how they got to the semifinals, and I'll tell you that it wasn't close in the semifinals. Both these movies were runaway winners. Die Hard over A Christmas Story, and Christmas Chronicles over Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That was a surprise to me that it won by so much.
And you know, if it would have been Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas versus A Christmas Story, I wouldn't have been surprised at all.
No.
So I'm with you. I'm a little bit surprised that they were walkaway winners on this one. I thought these two would be really close matchups in the semifinal. As it turns out, not at all.
No, but when you look at it, okay, Die Hard the favorite, and then you got the Cinderella Story, the Christmas Chronicles. This is going to be a fun matchup, and they're actually a lot closer than maybe people realize.
You got it. Let's go over some of the statistics, some of the critic ratings, shall we? So, for Die Hard, we've got the Rotten Tomatoes critic score at 94%, which is pretty high up there, followed by the audience score, also 94%. Usually a good sign on Rotten Tomatoes when the two are tied. Usually means that it's both really good movie on the critic side and also just an enjoyable one.
And again, like we talked about, it's early. It was an earlier film. The fact it's held up through the time is also very impressive.
Yeah, everybody still loves the movie.
Everybody still loves and quotes the movie to no end.
Christmas Chronicles, Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 68%.
Not good.
Liked more by the audience. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 75%, so a bit lower on both fronts from Rotten Tomatoes on the Die Hard.
You're more of a movie guy than I am. You're quite a performer, Kenton. What does that difference say to you, that the audience liked it more than maybe a Rotten Tomato critic did?
Usually, I think it just means it's more fun. It's a more fun movie. Usually if it's high critic score and low audience score, it was probably artistic in some way that really wasn't all that enjoyable.
Sure.
If it's the other way around, 68%, that's not too low. 75 audience score, it means the audience was in for a romp, and that's what they got.
You're going to have a good time watching both these films. You're going to have a pretty good time. If you haven't, you need to watch both, and then you can vote on your favorite. That's the Rotten Tomatoes score. What about the IMDb scores? Because that's another one that's a little bit closer than I think people would realize.
I think that was a lot closer than the audience scores and Rotten Tomatoes scores. IMDb, Die Hard took 8.2 out of 10 versus The Christmas Chronicles with 7.0 out of 10. So that's a little bit closer. As far as box office goes, like we said, 1988 for Die Hard. Adjusted for inflation, $332 million is a big hit.
Massive.
On the other hand, The Christmas Chronicles has never been in theaters, and Netflix does not show their streaming numbers, so we have no information on that one. We can't tell you how popular they are versus streaming or box office.
But I can tell you, if you want to go by popularity, Die Hard has spawned 5 sequels. 5.
That's right.
With rumor of a potential 6th earlier in 2020 before COVID kind of ended everything. So that's fine. Now the Christmas Chronicles does have a Christmas Chronicles 2, which actually did star Kurt Russell and his wife Goldie Hawn, which is a pretty cool little combo. There's talks of a 3rd, but from what I've read, we should not hold your breath for a Christmas Chronicles 3. But if you want to go maybe measure popularity based on sequels, Die Hard's got the edge.
And then finally, the last statistic we're going to look at is more of a personal thing. Kurt Russell versus Bruce Willis. When it comes to their careers as leading actors, the box office numbers do fall on Bruce Willis's shoulders here. Kurt Russell, box office as leading actor, $1.1 billion. Bruce Willis is sitting more at $5.2 billion. So as an actor, as a leading actor, Die Hard should take this one. And really, the numbers do fall on Die Hard's side of things here.
They do, but again, Christmas Chronicles has defied the odds a number of times through this contest. So it's really hard to pick a winner right now. Cinderella, maybe her time is not quite struck midnight. It's going to be really interesting. Should note, neither one of these films, maybe not great for the whole family. Maybe not necessarily suitable for all kids. You may want to watch it first, parents, before you get into your kids.
There you have it. Christmas movie madness. Into the final now. We will figure out what the #1 Christmas movie is here in the Southeast. Cast your vote, SteinbachOnline.com.
I think that salary discrepancy is similar to ours.
Who's on top?